Hello, everybody. Welcome to another podcast, another episode on the podcast, your favorite podcast, Inspiring Educators. We bring another inspirational educator for you today. And I can tell you, he's a maverick. He does things the way he likes, unorthodox way. You name something that you would want to do, right from sports to coding to teaching to anything, and he has done it, and he has done it professionally, and he's done it with recognition. I'm super excited to talk to Abhishek Bagchi, Mr. Abhishek Bagchi, my friend. I'm going to call him Abhishek. You can't call him Abhishek, you can only call him Abhishek, sir. But Abhishek, welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Rishabh. Thank you for having me here. I like the word maverick. No one told me that because that's an addition to my maybe. With your permission, I can use it in future maybe. So, Rishabh, thank you again. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. So, to begin with, we always love to know the background story of our leaders. And as an education leader, you have achieved so much. But before you became an education leader, what all really happened? How did you start in education? I know there are going to be so many things before education as well, but how did you finally land up or decide to land up in education systems, and what has been your story from where you started till now? We would love to know about it.
Well, we all say that we are, a kind of compilation of whatever happens in our environment. So I maybe there must be some link, but in my childhood there was no inspiration that I would have become an educator in future, because none of the family member that I had from my mother's side and father's side was like belonging to education. Yes, I must mention my grandfather who was an educator maybe, but I never met him. We never met because he expired much before I came into this planet. But maybe there was an indirect influence. I heard stories about him, he was very influential. So that can be one of the reasons. I was an avid reader always from my childhood. I read everything, read from some pulp fiction to Shakespeare and everything that is possible under the sun. So whatever came in front of me, and especially I'm from Kolkata, so I read a lot of Bengali literature, which is absolutely normal in my lifestyle and livelihood. Whatever around me, it was very normal. Right. But majorly my childhood was about sports, because we were having a sports family. So I was playing football, though I loved cricket more, but my father was a footballer, so he dragged me to the football field. In spite of all the displeasure, I had to play football. It was genetical. I was genetically, naturally, I was a footballer. There was some genetical influence, definitely. So the coach also dragged me to the field, and I played kind of okay football maybe. And then after that, I completely shifted to cricket and started playing cricket till first division. I played in colleges and everywhere. And as you are mentioning about education, yes, maybe the reason why I came into education, because before that, I was a programmer in IBM platform. I did a lot of coding. I still love coding, but not the 4GL kind of coding, the raw procedural coding. I'm a big fan of old school. So there, it's a very raw coding that we like. While doing that, I think I was very happy coding and doing all those stuff. But somewhere there was kind of dissatisfaction was happening, because I was more an explorer, a traveler. I was always used to travel and explore areas where unexplored. So the life was kind of buffet for me, going into different dishes and tasting that, how it is feeling. So I worked as an executive in a farm, trying to build up more units, designing and starting a new course in India, which never was into the market. Completely as a marketing person, maybe sometimes forming my own company and making events, become an event management company. So all these things, trial and error, this and that, because my father was a businessman, so he was completely doing business and everything, but I was not very good in that. I really, really sucked. So what I did later on, my explorer and this explorer mindset led me to inside the classroom. So that was very accident, actually. When I always said I'm an accidental educator, so I came due to my event management background, I came to invite one principal in Kolkata to my event. And he told me, he was an Anglo principal. He was a principal of Dr. Graham Soul from previously a very reputed school. So he called me and he said, like, I want you in my team. I want you as a teacher. So I was a kind of, okay, fine, but what about my income? Because that will come down like anything. Because then suddenly something came into my mind, and this is very, very honest. Like it came to my mind, which I think, majority of the teachers think the same way. It came into my mind that, okay, now I'll be able to do many other things since I'll become a teacher. So I'll have a lot of time. So this misconception even I had during those days. So this myth is still there, and many of my, if you are listening to me, and if you think that, okay, by coming to teaching, you will be getting a lot of time, you're making a mistake. So don't make that mistake again. Okay, so I joined teaching because of that. Immensely supported by my family, because my family was, as Rishabh said, was almost like thinking I'm in the, almost in the lunatic phase and maverick and all those stuff. And they wanted to tame me maybe. And they said, okay, become a teacher because this is what your destiny is. So I became a teacher, went inside the classroom, started talking to the students, and bang, I got trapped. And that was my starting. And since then I'm trapped, but completely trapped by the tremendous influence that this particular profession has, the tremendous socio-emotional and cultural influence that this has. And that's it. So since then, since 2004, formally, I came into this, formal education, teaching, learning. And since then, today, I'm the director. I'm like managing 3 schools, but I make sure every day I take 1 class with my students. I'm still teaching.
Beautiful. You see, that's why I said Maverick. You are a very, very unorthodox person. And we've met so many, people who follow the convention, who follow, the line that has to be maintained. But in all our conversations that I've had with you, the last conversation and today, what I found is that you are somebody who's ready to challenge the status quo. You are not somebody who will accept things because they have been done like this till today. You're somebody who will say, what if they have been done like this today? Why have they been done like this? And why do we still need to continue? And that's what really changes, the way the results that you get and the way you approach the results. So coming to that, very quickly, Abhishek, and for our listeners, he very humbly mentioned that he was an okay player, but he's represented India internationally. And that's not a small thing, Abhishek. So first of all, thank you for your humility, but we know that you have been outstandingly performing outstandingly well in whatever you have done. Now, very quick question from whatever you've shared till now. So the principal of that school said, Abhishek, I like you. Why don't you join my team? And you thought about something and you joined. And there's this major question that has always been going around teachers. Are you a by choice teacher or a by chance teacher? And while it sounds like you are a by choice teacher because the choice was put in front of you, I would still want to know from you, do you think that opportunity was a by chance opportunity and hence you consider yourself a by chance teacher? Or do you think that you are a by choice teacher, or you started as a by choice teacher and then you've been a by choice teacher? So what's your perspective on by choice?
Good question, Rishabh. This is a very good question. No one asked me this question before. Definitely. I believe everything in your life happens by chance, but what you do with your chance is your choice.
Absolutely.
So the same thing happened with me. Like there were a lot of chances. It is not that, okay, I got chance of teaching inside the classroom. I had several other chances. Like even I have refused. It was 1999. I refused at least 2 to 3 jobs of US because I was a coder, remember? So that was the time when, Indians were very much required in US. So it was 1998, 99 when we were getting job offers of at least $4,000 US per month, which is a big amount even today. And we were refusing it.
Wow.
So if you're talking about choices, so that was also a choice.
Right.
Do I repent? No, I don't repent because I thought that an AS400 professional, an IBM professional working in a mainframe system, deserves more salary than $4,000 at that time. And talking about techie, I don't want to go to more technical terms, but they were benching and body shopping and all those things going on. And we were kind of predicting a kind of bubble burst going to happen, or .com bust, and it actually happened.
Yeah.
If my data is right, in 1919, or close to 9 lakh Indians lost their jobs from US.
Right.
So I'm not going to justify my decision, but that was a decision taken that we never took that option. So it's something like that. As you said, like, yes, and every choice comes with a cost, definitely. So
Absolutely.
if you're ready to pay that cost, and once the decision is taken, it's always the right decision,
Right.
Like, yes, you can have hundreds of times, like, you can think about it, and you can have a lot of sleepless nights over it, but once a decision taken is always the right decision.
Okay.
And so that was a chance, definitely, just like many other chances which came. My father almost dragged me into his business, so that was also a chance, but there was a choice that I had to make, and we make that choice. And as you said, that you just now, a few minutes back, you said that, okay, you did things like not as the usual stuff, and that was also a choice, and that also had cost, So I can go on picking about the cost, what are the what you have to pay, for that. But it's okay. That's why I like unconventional teachers. I like people who are thinking, maybe in a way that there is no box. I'm not even talking about out of the box. So there is no box.
Right.
People think about that. If I get a teacher who is thinking like that, then definitely that's the right teacher in my organization.
Oh, superb. So you talked about decisions and you talked about choices, and I've always heard this from the best of the leaders, that a person is basically an outcome of all the decisions that he or she has taken, him or her has taken over his lifetime. So as in your current role as a leader, right, you hold two positions. You are the principal of World Peace School, and you're also the director of MIT Group of Schools.
Yeah.
And which means that there are a lot of decisions that you have to take on an everyday basis, which impact thousands of learners, in all these different schools. So when you're sitting in that chair and making those decisions, what is that one thought that keeps your focus in place, that keeps your vision aligned, that, okay, right and wrong are always relative, but what is that clear perception that you have which help you in making the right decisions every day?
Well, a couple of things. One is like the belief system. Like, what is your vision? What is your belief system? Like, how you interpret the education system and why you are here. Like,
Right.
it's more than why you than what you, like, that is most important. That's the primary, driving force, you might say. Like, that helps me to take decision, because if you're focused in one particular belief system and you are not confused about it, then definitely it will never betray you, and you can take the decision very easily, number one. And number two, definitely the culture of the organization that you're working in, because this MIT has got that vision, and that we got aligned. So my boss, the people who manage me, like whom I report to, they have that similar vision. So they speak the same language which I speak, and maybe a 21st century educator speak. Right. So that is also helping me in taking the right decision, no matter what. The decision can go wrong, fine, but it's a decision taken, and we should be owning it, right? We should take the ownership of the decision and then move forward. So that is most important for me. And so these two, the confluence of these two, actually help me to take the decision, as you said, like maybe with a free mind, maybe with no tension. And this is something that actually will help you to take decision which organization you are working, right? Because you cannot, under no circumstances, you cannot sacrifice your sleep over what you do. So your livelihood is more important, And when people like me, confirmed bachelor, who has got, work as life and life as work, there is no, there's clear division between like work and life, because both are almost same for me. So in these kind of situations, I need to sleep within 60 seconds, right? So that cannot be compromised. So if that is compromised, then there is a serious problem. But so far, I'm in a very safe place, and it's a fantastic place that we are working.
Superb. So I really love that thought that you mentioned, right? Culture. And it's very rare that I see school leaders or school principals talk about culture, because whether we like to believe it or not, most of the teachers don't feel that they are in a safe or in a well-cultured environment. And I'm not saying it from a perspective of bad culture, but toxic culture, right? A lot of work, not much appreciation and all of those things. So you mentioned culture. And knowing you over the last conversations that we have had, I know there would be some, no box, so not out of the box, but without the box initiatives that you must have taken to maintain the culture in your school. We'd love to know about some of those initiatives, some of the ideas that you've implemented with your teachers, which make the culture outstanding at World Peace Schools and MIT Group of Schools.
Okay, so there can be many, but if I have to tell you few, or rather I would say the most important, if I have to prioritize and I tell you that what is the number one thing that all the leaders who are listening to me must try it at least in their workspace, is like, first, you allow the mistakes to happen.
Right.
That's the number one priority. You allow the mistakes to happen, because if you do not allow the mistakes to happen, then there will be a lot of acting going on around you, and there will be a lot of hypocrisy, there will be a lot of distrust going on around you, which you don't want in your organization. So that is the primary objective, the first priority that you should be bringing in your organization, that yes, you as a leader should be standing in between, let the mistakes happen and you're going to face it. So that what empowerment is, like you allow the teacher to go and work, and teacher or any one of us to go and work, take the risk, or think something as weird as possible, give them some kind of award if they are thinking as weird as possible, and then stand in between and say if anything goes wrong, you are there. So that is the first thing I would say, rather. And when you talk about the competency, which is again the hot topic nowadays, like everyone is talking about competency, which is very much related to skills and everything. And we are trying to transform our whole pedagogy and content into competency-based curriculum. So in that, I would say the leaders, talk to your children. Talk to your children. Don't talk to your teachers. Talk to your children. You will understand. You will understand what is going on, because they are the outcome. They are the outcome of your school. So the more you talk to the children, the more you will be, you will actually, if you are really have that efficacy in you, that you will understand what is going on in your school. That is the most important. So I think these are the two important mantras that I can spell out at this present moment, and I make sure that this kind of environment is created, and definitely give the space to the teacher to introspect, to come to you, keep your doors open all the time so that anyone can walk inside your room and have a talk. So these kind of, and I'm sure that many leaders of this present era is doing that. And because we keep on meeting many leaders of this present era, and definitely I'm sure they are also doing the same thing. But the first point that I said, like allow the mistake, is the most difficult thing to do, because we become control freak. We really become control freak, and it's nothing wrong in it. Like, okay, it's a natural tendency of a leader to become a control freak, but there actually we should be a little careful. That's my point.
Super. So if I have to list down, have a culture where people are not scared of making mistakes. So basically they become risk takers, because risk is not about doing something that always gets the right results. It could go wrong, but they know that they have somebody to fall back on, somebody who believes in them, that even if they go wrong, it's not them that has gone wrong, it's the idea that has gone wrong.
Right.
So helping people in making mistakes. So basically making them risk takers. You said connecting with the students regularly. Everybody should be connecting. So having stakeholders talking to each other all the time is the second point that I'm taking from there.
Right.
And the third is having doors open. So having an open door policy where whosoever wants to talk to anybody, they can go directly chat with them and share their heart out. And the other person would be a good listener, and then everybody works together on it. So these are the three things.
Yes, Rishabh, like just to continue with the third point, what I wanted to say is like to create a healthy mind space inside the school. Like, okay, so, but please don't make me wrong. Like, I'm a data person. I'm coming directly from IT and also corporate. I worked in PEARSON for, 2 years in a hardcore corporate scenario. So, sure. I know what dashboard means. I know what are the matrices mean and what are the checks and measures. So that is easy part, like to tracking
Yeah.
data. But how can you track data of students' mindset when they're sitting inside the classroom? So that is the major challenge. That is where the social, emotional, and cultural data that comes into this education scenario. That is where the actual efficacy of an educator comes out. Do you know that what the children, what that student has eaten, maybe when they are appearing for your class? What
Right.
particular is it? Like the domestic violence has peaked in the pandemic time. Like, do you know whether their father has beaten his mother or not when they are coming to school, and you're expecting them to solve the math problem? Okay, so these are more important data for me. So we should take it in a different approach rather than coming from what to how to why. Let's start with why and then go to how, then what. And
Right.
why is where your social, emotional, cultural data is lying, and how is
Right.
where your competency data or skill data is lying. And what all the educators and teachers know, we always talk about content and pedagogies. That is what is your what is. Anyway,
Right.
sir, Rishabh ji, yeah, thank you.
Amazing, outstanding. So Abhishek, tell me something. So these are revolutionary ideas, right? This is not something that everybody is able to do. Everybody wants to do it. Everybody's not able to do it. And that's where majorly the difference comes between somebody being able to implement it and somebody thinking about it. Now, you've been doing it. So doing it requires the right team members also, right? So when Abhishek is hiring a teacher, what are the top 3 things that Abhishek looks for? I'm sure there'll be different team members, different panel members in your institutions who would be interviewing people at different levels. But if you were the one who's sitting on the panel, what are the top 3 things that you look for?
Okay, you're talking about teachers or leaders?
Teachers.
Anyway, teachers are also leaders in their own rights.
Right.
Number 1, I look for empathy and compassion. Without that, I will not hire anyone. Okay, that's the first criteria I look for. Because if the teacher is a teacher without empathy and compassion, he's not fit to become a teacher. That's 1.
Superb.
Second, I would try to understand that how flexible and how flexible. By the meaning of flexible, I wanted to know that how much they can unlearn what they know already. So can they unlearn something which is already there in their mind? So unlearn, relearn process. Okay, learn and relearn process. How capable are they in doing that? Right. And third, definitely the core subject area which they want to teach. But that is maybe the third point, maybe the fourth point, not that important, because people develop that. But if it is in the higher classes, that is also required, because if you don't have the core subject expertise,
right,
then in higher classes, and I am not talking about the degrees and the marks that you've got, right, definitely the actual expertise that I'm looking at. For example, if you are teaching physics, then can you just explain that a Beckham shot with the physics, Newton's laws of motion? So if you can do that, then definitely you are good in physics. Okay, so that kind of stuff, So these are the 3 things, which is like application of the knowledge, which I'm actually trying to mean. So the first, definitely empathy and compassion. And I'm very, very serious that these 2 words should be together, because empathy without compassion can be dangerous. It's empathy and compassion. It's like a pair. Second, definitely your how you can unlearn and learn faster, because that's where many of the teachers lack. And the third is definitely the core expertise that you have, the application of your knowledge.
Wonderful. And I'm sure you meet hundreds and thousands of teachers, and many of them would want to come to you and ask you, and many of them would be prospective teachers, would come and ask you that should we become a teacher or not. Now, picking up from the 3 points, let's say there is a person who has high empathy and high compassion. There are these students who are ready to unlearn and relearn whatever you will say. And there are people who are really good at understanding and explaining things as well, right? All your 3 things there. And imagine that there are 1 lakh such students standing, sitting in a stadium, and you're standing in the middle of the stadium, and you have to pitch the teaching profession to them, that each one of those 1 lakh people joins the teaching profession because they have empathy, compassion, they're ready to learn, unlearn, and they are very good at understanding and explaining their subjects. What would be your pitch to them that each one of those 1 lakh people joins the teaching profession? What would be your pitch to them?
First of all, I'll check whether I'm dreaming or not, because you are telling me an utopian situation. You're putting me in a situation where there is 1 lakh people with these 3 kind of, like jokes apart, it's a very difficult. It's very difficult nowadays to get all the 3 qualities together. But that's why I kept it in a very priority basis, because if the teacher does not have the competency, that can be developed. But if the teacher does not have that unlearned, that growth mindset we talk about, that also can be developed. But I'm not very sure whether you can develop the empathy within the teacher. So that's why I've kept it in 1, 2, 3. But Absolutely. Yes, coming to your question, if there is if what I'm going to pitch to them.
How do you pitch this? So all of them are sitting and thinking, do we join teaching or not?
Right.
So you have to pitch the teaching profession to them.
So I will be saying 2 things, right? Very simple, 2 sentences and nothing else. One, just another 10 years back, I was a teacher sitting in a staff room. That will be my first sentence. And today I'm the director. So look at me. Is it possible? And number two is maybe I'll just say that. Okay. And number 2 is if you join me as a teacher, I don't want you to retire from my organization.
So you see,
as a teacher. I don't want to retire as a teacher. Yeah.
Unconsciously, you have pitched them the growth in the teaching career.
Right.
And that's what we've been talking about, right? All educators that I've been talking to, education leaders, I think all of them agree, and I'm sure you will agree too, that we need to really, really position teaching career in a way that people realize that it's not a job where you get stuck for the next 20, 30, 50 years. If you have the right passion, if you have compassion, empathy, and the skills that people want, you can grow faster than other professions. And within 10 straight years, somebody can move from being a teacher to being director of 3 schools and a head of 1 major school in the country with global impact. It's not just that your impact is only in your schools. I know you speak in some of the best conferences around the world, and people come to just listen to you. So Imagine if 1% of those 1 lakh people were able to become Abhishek Bagchis of the world, the education world would change. And that would be my pitch to those 1 lakh people.
That's nice. That's very interesting.
Right. Yeah. So super. Thank you so much on that. And if you had to share one message with all the current teachers across India, across the world, and just share your heart out about the teaching profession, what would that be?
That it's going to be a little long maybe, but what I want to tell my teachers, all teachers, anywhere, if you're listening to me, I know that people don't respect you. So that's kind of a pseudo environment that got created. Okay, inside the school, you may be a celebrity, the students coming and touching your feet, but society does not respect you. So this is the time to, turn back and take your position, because this is, you deserve more. You deserve a lot. But before you ask for it, ask yourself the question, do I deserve more? So that's what I want to ask you, just ask yourself, what am I doing? I'm really doing the research. Am I really, meeting up the expectations that my students have? Just ask yourself, and if you will be surprised, you'll be surprised that there are a lot of gaps which will come out, and please be very, very honest and come out and find out a mentor. Find out a lot of mentors that there may be fascinating people around, get those mentors, because I had multiple mentors. I even have a mentor who is my student, by the way. So, so mentors are not because they are senior to you, they can be any mentors. So find out your mentors, stay with them and talk to them, and definitely you will find a way out. But take your position, take your right from the society, because society still they don't respect you.
Got it. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting discussion today, Abhishek. I'm sure all the listeners have enjoyed this episode of the podcast. I know time flies when we're talking to a revolutionary leader, and that has happened today.
That is too much. Not revolutionary. Okay, we are just a part of the process. We are playing our part, right? We are all playing our part.
Absolutely, and that's where a leader shows humility. it makes him a bigger leader. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Me, Rishabh Khanna, Abhishek Bagchi, we both of us together would like to sign off from today's episode. Thank you so much for listening to us.
Thank you, Rishabh. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Like you people are doing fantastic job, and I wish that more people like you actually join this education field and understand education from a different perspective, because that is required. We have got too many pan bidi wala opening schools, like this need to stop, and so a random petrol pump owner has opened a shop. So we need organizations like MIT who has got proper values. They have got a mission and vision where they want to take the education institute. They have got 110 institutes that we are running here, and they have got 4 universities. So they are all running with some kind of vision and mission, and people are trying in all. Look at, are we successful in all the aspects? No, maybe, but that effort is there. That intention is there. The leader who is sitting at the top is having that intention. So that is where we make the differences. So people like you, Rishabh ji, please come and join and join hands, and let's make a difference here. There's huge potential. Education is a nascent stage, like it's in a very reactive stage, like a lot of things. And this is an opportunity that teachers have. So join Rishabh, join the company, and make a difference.
Got it. So that's the extra part. That's the extra Abhishek edge that you've got right now. See you all next week in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.